Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. We're really excited to be here. This is the second time we've had the privilege of participating in the Culinary Pavilion for the Coconut Grove Arts and Wine Festival. Sorry, I inserted wine in there. Arts Festival. And it's just natural, I have to do it. And so we're very privileged and pleased to be here. Today what we're going to do is we're going to go through some basic wine information. We're going to go through the history of Barefoot. And then we're going to make some signature cocktails using Barefoot Wine Bubbly. So we're going to taste about 6 still wines and 3 sparkling wines. And we're just going to have a lot of fun. So is everyone ready to get barefoot? Great. All right, wonderful. Well, before I go on, I want to introduce some of our fellow barefooters. We on the Barefoot team like to call ourselves barefooters. We're dedicated to barefoot. My barefoot name is Pinky Toe. But we also have Shay here, and Shay's Turf Toe. And we have Brittany over here, and she is Soulful and Smiles. So we're all here to help you and serve you and provide you a good time today. So we hope you do. So in order to get this party started, what we're going to start with first is our Barefoot Bubbly Brut Cuvée, which is our most traditional champagne that we make. It's a Chardonnay champagne. And it's also the driest champagne in our Barefoot Bubbly line of bubbles. So we have 6 sparkling wines called Barefoot Bubbly. The Barefoot Brut is the driest, just like I mentioned. And I'm going to go through all of them in just a moment. But as I open the champagne bottle, I just want to direct you to the technique and procedure so that nobody ever injures themselves when they open a bottle of champagne, because the cork does come out in an hour. So just make sure after you remove the foil that you keep your finger, your thumb or your finger on the hood. This is called the wire hood. And you untie it. Put your finger back on the cork because it sometimes will fly out. And just gently pop it out. Just like that. All right. Here we go. So you should have a little Barefoot Bubbly Brut Cuvée in your hand in your glasses. So cheers for joining us, and cheers to the Coconut Grove Festival. So this Barefoot Bubbly Brut Cuvée is made from Chardonnay grapes. It's crisp, has flavors and aromas of green apple, has a really nice lingering finish. It's just clean. It is dry. It's very dry. So to your point, when you're making cocktails using a bubbly like a mimosa, it would be really nice for you to use a dry base, a Brut Cuvée type champagne, because there's so much sugar in juice. So this is a great choice for that. If this is too dry for you, you just put a little orange juice in there and you'll be perfect. So we have, like I mentioned, we have 6 different Barefoot Bubbly California champagnes. So we just tried the Barefoot Bubbly Brut Cuvée. The next one is our Barefoot Bubbly Pinot Grigio, and this is the only Pinot Grigio champagne being made from California grapes. It's very unique. It's the only one you're going to find. So we're going to be making a signature cocktail with this in a few moments, and we're going to be making a cocktail called the Pinot Grigio. It's a blend of pomegranate juice and Pinot Grigio champagne, and it's absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking forward to making that with you. Next, we have the Extra Dry, Barefoot Bubbly Extra Dry. It's also Chardonnay champagne, but it's just a little bit sweeter than the Brut Cuvée. It's a little bit creamier in your mouth, and just has a little bit more fruit pop. Then we have our Barefoot Bubbly Rosé, and it's also made with traditional grapes. It's made with Pinot Noir grapes, and it's just a little bit sweeter than the Extra Dry, and has nice aromas and flavors of strawberry, cranberry, and raspberry. It's really lovely. I love that. And then we have our Moscato Spumante. For those of you who know Moscato Spumante or Spumante sparkling wines, this is a drier style Spumante. It's still sweet, but it's drier. And the reason we make it drier is one of the doctrines of our winemaking at Barefoot is to make things food friendly. And because it is drier, it doesn't overwhelm whatever you're eating. So it's really fantastic. I love this. There's lots of mandarin orange and tangerine flavors and aromas in this. And then finally, this is our brand new release. We just released this at the end of last year. It's our Pink Moscato Bubbly. It's also a California champagne. We're going to be tasting this next. This is a blend of Moscato and white Grenache. The white Grenache is what makes it this beautiful pink color. And this has really explosive flavors and aromas. I think you're going to really like it. So it's a lot of fun. So let's So when you smell and taste this pink Moscato Bubbly, you'll see and taste that it has a lot of the typical and traditional Moscato flavors and aromas, but also has a lot of red fruit layered into it. So you can taste the cherries and the hint of raspberry and a little bit of pomegranate. And it's just really beautiful and sweet but balanced at the same time. And what I like about it is that it just finishes with a hint of sweet lime and leaves that really beautiful flavor on your palate. What do you guys think? You like it? Great. So it's a good time for me to mention that all of these wines are available nationally, and they can be found for about $10 or less in most grocery stores or independent stores. But even more important, Barefoot Bubbly is the most highly awarded champagne in the United States under $20, and you can get it for $10. So it's a really good value, and you can afford to drink it. And another thing I'd like to mention about champagne is I encourage you to think outside the flute. As you can see, I'm pouring this into a flute, which, it's beautiful, and you can see the bubbles, and that's nice, but I really encourage folks to use any sort of glassware they have at home. I've heard many times that people choose not to buy bubbles because they don't have the right glassware, and that's silly. You can enjoy it in a tumbler, you can enjoy it in anything you want. Everybody has a glass at home. So don't let that stop you. It's too good to not take that chance. So here we go. All right, so next we're gonna go into our still. So I mentioned that we have 6 sparkling wines. We have 13 still wines. Now the difference between sparkling wine and still wine are there are more bubbles in the sparkling wine. So let's just talk about the winemaking process briefly. When we pick grapes in the vineyard, we make them into juice. We press the grapes to make juice, and then we add yeast. And the yeast eats the sugar in the juice, and the byproduct is CO2 and alcohol. So that's the basic winemaking process. So there's a little bit of CO2 in all wines that we have. But with the bubblies or the champagnes, what happens is it goes through a secondary fermentation process. So we put it in a tank, we put a little bit more yeast in there, and the tank is pressurized, so no CO2 can get released. So all the CO2 is pushed back into the solution, which causes it to be bubbly. So that's just little information. So then we have the still wines, and there is a little CO2 in the still wines, but not nearly as much as the sparkling. So are we passing out Pinot Grigio yet? So we're going to go on to the next wine, our still wine. And if you have a bottle of water, it's probably a good time to just do a little palate cleanser because you did have some sweet bubbles. And we're going to go into a drier white wine. This is our Barefoot Pinot Grigio. It's the #1 selling Pinot Grigio in the United States. What I like about it is really vibrant and refreshing, but also has a lot of floral and fruit characteristics at the same time. So it's just really nice all the way around. And the #1 description that I hear when people talk about this wine, outside of the fact that it has, floral and fruity aromas and flavors, has a little bit of pear, a little bit of apple, a little bit of jasmine. But the #1 description that people call this is patio wine. It's refreshing. If you're having a glass of wine on your back patio in the middle of summer, this is your choice. So there's a lot of people out there that say they'll drink ABC, anything but Chardonnay. So Pinot Grigio is a good choice for those people that don't like Chardonnay. What do you think? Pretty nice, a little fruity, easy to drink, nice mouthfeel, texture. So one of the things I really like about Pinot Grigio is that you can pair a lot of foods with it. So we're going to have a little snack that's going to come out to you so you guys can get a little break from the three samples that we sent out to you. But what's nice about it is you can do appetizers, you can do cheeses, you can do fruits, you can do pastas, so you can do salads are great with Pinot Grigio, fish, chicken. It's just a really great all-around choice as a white wine. So next, we're going to go into our California Chardonnay. Thank you. Chardonnay is the most widely consumed white wine in the world. Did you know that? But before we pour some more Chardonnay, because I know you guys are still getting your snacks, I want to talk a little bit about the Barefoot history. So you may not know, but Barefoot's been around for a long time. Barefoot actually started in Alameda County, which is a county just east of San Francisco in California, in a guy's garage. And that gentleman's name was Davis Bynum. And he named the wine Barefoot in honor of the way grapes were originally stomped and wines were originally made. So he liked that idea of putting the foot on the label as a footprint. So he made the wine for 10 years, and he was very successful with the Barefoot brand. However, his passion and true desire was making high-end Pinot Noirs from the Russian River Valley. So he made Barefoot wines for about 10 years, and then he decided he was going to focus on his Pinot Noirs. So he left Alameda County and went up to Russian River and bought a piece of property. And the brand lay dormant for 10 years. And then a gentleman named Michael Houlihan offered to buy the brand from Davis Bynum. And he said, sure, I'm not using it. You can have it. So he sold it to him. And Michael Houlihan and his partner, Harvey, relaunched the brand in 1986 with a 1.5 Magnum bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon and Sauvignon Blanc only. But the foot on the label meant something different to them. What it meant to them was a carefree lifestyle, kicking back, getting barefoot and having a great time. Everything's just a little bit better barefoot. So that's kind of the theory that we've adopted today is, hey, let's just have a casual attitude about wine. Wine doesn't have to be snobby. It doesn't have to be pretentious. It doesn't have to be scary. And you can enjoy it with whatever you want. If you like it, drink it. If you like it with something that's not traditionally served with Chardonnay, that's okay. If it tastes good to you, that's all that matters. So we like that philosophy a lot. So as they bring out the Chardonnay, I was talking about the history of the brand. And Michael and Bonnie had the brand for 20 years. And in 2005, they sold the brand to the Gallo family. They're a family-owned winery since 1933. And what's wonderful about being owned by the Gallo family is they've allowed us to make the world a better place through wine. And what I mean by that is we don't do any traditional advertising. What we do is we have barefooters like Shay who live all across the country, and they're market specialists, market evangelists. And they go into their local communities, they partner with nonprofit and charity organizations, and they help those charities and nonprofits raise money for their worthy causes. And so we don't have a tasting room in Modesto. We don't do that kind of stuff. We partner with nonprofit and charity organizations across the United States. We help them raise money. We pour our wine and our champagnes at their events, and that's what we do. So that's why we say we make the world a better place through wine. Last year we did about 3,000 events, and we helped raise over $30 million for those nonprofits and charities. That's a lot of money, don't you think? Yeah, it's great. So that's what the Gallo organization has allowed us to do. So we're very pleased. All right, so we're going to talk about this Chardonnay. This is a varietal, one of 13 wines that we make. And the varietal is the name of the grape and the name of the wine. So it's a Chardonnay grape and a Chardonnay wine. And all of the Barefoot wines have one similar criteria. They're varietally correct, food-friendly, and fruit-forward. And what does that mean? We want the wine in the glass to taste like the grapes in the vineyard right prior to harvest, right when they're the ripest and the juiciest, and they're tasting the best right in the vineyard. When you taste that grape, we want that flavor and aroma to be reflected in the glass. So that's what we mean. When we say fruit forward. We want the fruit to speak first before oak, acidity, alcohol, residual sugar, anything like that. So that's very important for us. And then food friendly. All of the wines are crafted to pair well with foods, but you can enjoy them alone as well. So does everyone have the Chardonnay? Fantastic. So what I like about the Barefoot Chardonnay is the fruit does speak first. You get the pineapple, you get the apple, you get a little pear, and you get a hint of oak, but the hint of oak is there to lift the fruit and not dictate the style. So it's creamy, but not too creamy. And it's just that perfect balance of what I like in a Chardonnay. So that's a lot of fun. Thank you. So next we're going to go into our red wines. Last week, before I go into Pinot Noir, my husband made carbonara pasta, and we had the Barefoot Chardonnay with it, and it was incredible. So that's a fun pairing. White sauce pastas and Chardonnay go very well. So next we're going to go into Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is a lighter style red wine. It's not like a Cabernet. It's not like a Shiraz. It's not like a Merlot. It's not a robust wine. It's a lighter, more elegant, more silky styled red wine, and it's intended to be so. So this is our Barefoot Pinot Noir, and we're very proud of it. It's varietal in style. It has the light cherry notes, a little Bing cherry, a little raspberry. It has that really pretty fruit, just a nice balance of tannins, and I like the silky finish on it. So one of the things that you can do, particularly when you're in warmer climate environments like we are right now, is you can put a bottle of Pinot Noir in your refrigerator 20 minutes before you're going to serve it. If you just chill it down just a hint, it really will taste even better. The fruit will be more expressive, and it will actually, it's a little warm, and the fruit will be more expressive, and it will actually pair better with food. So while we're talking about temperature, let's just talk about that as a whole. So your refrigerator at home is probably 38 degrees. That's a typical temperature for a refrigerator. The right serving temperature for champagne is about 36. I keep my refrigerator at home at 36. But please note, you can do that too, but it will cost you more energy to run it colder all year long. But I like to have my bubbly ready at any time. We need to go at any time, so that's what I do. But if you don't run your refrigerator at 36, if you run it at 38, what you can do is you can make a water slurry. So you take an ice bucket, fill it halfway up with ice, add some water, and stick it in there, and literally in 20 minutes, it'll be the right temperature. So that's the easy way to do it. So what if you don't have an ice bucket? What if you have too many bottles for an ice bucket? What if you're having a party? What if you have 6 bottles you need to chill down? I use the kitchen sink method. It works every time. Everybody has a kitchen sink. Does anyone not have a kitchen sink here? Great. So, you do the same thing. It's the same theory. You fill it halfway up with ice, fill it up with water, stick your champagne in there, an instant ice bucket, and you have the right serving temperature. So that's the right serving temperature for champagnes. White wines, keep it in your refrigerator, pull it out of your refrigerator 20 minutes before you are ready to serve it. The right serving temperature is about 55 degrees, so it will warm up just enough, 20 minutes. Chillable red wines, treat them like white wines. Red Moscato, sweet red, those kind of things. Rosés. And then we talked about the 20-minute in the refrigerator rule for the red wines. So like the Pinot Noirs, the Merlots, the Shiraz, stick them in the refrigerator 20 minutes before you're ready to serve them. And that will be the perfect temperature. That'll help you out. So that's the general rule of thumb. So the last still wine that we're going to taste today before we go into our signature cocktails is our robust Cabernet Sauvignon. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to taste all of the 13 varietals and 6 sparkling wines today. But I would like to invite you to visit us in the tent over here and taste the wines that you didn't get a chance to taste today, because we do have a lot of them available. We're here sampling. We want you to taste the wines, and I think that you'll like them. So one of the things I'll talk about is social media. Who here has a Facebook account? Twitter? All right. Well, Barefoot's on Facebook and Twitter. So I encourage you to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Barefoot Wine. We're very active in both medias, and we like to share information about upcoming releases, new recipes, cocktail recipes, and food recipes. We have a mac and cheese recipe out here that you guys can pick up and take home. We do a lot of cooking with wine. We have a lot of events coming up. For example, last year in the state of Florida alone, we did 45 beach rescues. We partner with the Surfrider Foundation. Their motto is to keep the world's beaches, waves, and oceans barefoot friendly. So we partner with them. We do beach rescues. If you're on our social media list, you'll know when a beach rescue is. You can come out, join us, come to the party afterwards, listen to some music, drink some wine, hang out. It's a great time. So please, please, please engage with us on social media. We would love to have you. So this is our Cabernet. You should have some chocolate with the Cabernet. Do you guys have chocolate yet? No chocolate? It's coming. So when you taste this, you'll see that this is a richer style wine. It's concentrated. There's more fruit. It has a little bit more tannins, has more palate weight, has dark black fruit, a little blueberry. It has that really nice lingering finish. It has a hint of tannin. It's just really, really balanced and nice. This is a great food-friendly wine. This would be great with sausage-stuffed mushrooms. This would be wonderful with a filet mignon. This would be fantastic with chocolate, and that's why we're giving it to you. So you can see that there's a lot of applications to pair this with foods. So like the sparkling wine, still wines are available nationally. They're available in all your grocery stores, all your independent markets. If you have a specific favorite independent market, feel free to ask them to bring it in. I'm sure they'll be happy to do so. They have it at their disposal. They have it available to them. They're about $7 nationally. And like the sparkling wines, I mentioned that the sparkling wines are the most highly awarded sparkling wines under $20 in the United States. We have the same claim for the still wines. No wines under $15 win more medals than Barefoot. So again, you're getting a great value when you buy Barefoot wines because they are varietally cracked, they're winning awards, and they're only $7, and sometimes you can even find them for less. So that's really, really wonderful. Alrighty, so we're gonna move into cocktail blending. So one of the things I wanna point out to you before we go into cocktail blending is our Lodi Zinfandel. So the Lodi Zinfandel is appellated Lodi. It's the only wine in our portfolio that has a appellation more specific than California on the appellation. And Lodi is a fantastic grape growing region. It's one of the best growing regions for Zinfandel in particular. And so I just used the word appellated. And appellated is a form of the word appellation. And what that means is where the grapes are grown. So when you see something say California, you know that 100% of the grapes were grown in California. If it says Lodi, 85% of the grapes are grown in Lodi. So make sure you look for that California appellation when you're hunting for wines because it's very important. It's definitely a sign of quality. Right. Who's ready for some cocktails? It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? All right. Okay, so the first cocktail that we're going to make is our Palma Grigio. And while I get all the ingredients together here, I want to just talk quickly about one of my favorites. I need the mint, the whole mint leaves. Oh, perfect. Thank you. So one of my favorite vineyards is the, do you have the whole leaves? Sorry. Thanks. Perfect. One of my favorite vineyards is a ranch called Cow Ranch. So the Barefoot Winery is in Modesto, California, which is 125 miles southeast of San Francisco. And that's where we do all our bottling for all our still wines and all our sparkling wines. About 30 miles south of Modesto is a little tiny city named Livingston. And that's where we do all our crushing, all our pressing, all our fermentation, all our blending happens in Livingston. And we bring everything up to Modesto and bottle it. But east of Livingston, about 40 miles, is a beautiful ranch called Cow Ranch. And Cow Ranch is a 3,500-acre ranch that used to be 6 adjoining dairies. And the Gallo family bought the ranch and originally planted apples on the ranch. And then in the early 90s, they decided, look, we're gonna take these apples out and we're gonna plant some vineyards. And now the fruit that comes off that ranch, fortunately, goes into Barefoot. And it's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful piece of property. And what's unique about the Cow Ranch is that it has a bluff on each side, and it has the Merced River running through it. So it has its own unique microclimate, so it's a little bit cooler than the other regions in the Central Valley. And what's important about that is every single grape type grows in a different growing region. So if you want to have the perfect growing region for Chardonnay, you'd have some sort of cool coastal breeze, or Pinot Noir as well. Or we talked about Lodi and Zinfandel. It's a hotter growing region. So each grape grows well in a different growing region. And the Cow Ranch has its own microclimate where it has the bluffs, and it has kind of a windy thing going on because of the bluffs, and it has the Merced River, which originates in Yosemite National Park, and that's what we irrigate our grapes with. So it's just one of my favorite places to be, so I wanted to mention it to you. So this is the Pinot Grigio Champagne, and I have some pomegranate juice here. So the first thing we're going to make is a Pomegranate Grigio, and this is really easy one. So you put a little bit of pomegranate juice in your flute or your tumbler. You can think outside the flute. You can use any kind of glass you want. And just fill up the rest of your glass with some Pinot Grigio Bubbly. And it's really yummy. This is what I serve on Christmas Eve when I have my family and friends over. And you can put a little mint leaf in there if you want to make it pretty. Isn't that pretty? So in September and October, when fresh pomegranate seeds are in season, you just put a few of those in there too, and it's even better. It's even better. So do you guys have one of these yet? You've had one? Wonderful. Okay. Cheers. All right. Oh, it tastes great. So this is what I call a signature drink. I want to talk about signature drinks for a moment because I like to entertain a lot. And if you entertain a lot, it can be expensive. So you make choices in order to minimize the impact on your budget, right? So one of the things I like to do when I entertain is have a signature drink at each party. And this is one that I use a lot because a lot of my friends and family like it. But what it does is it eliminates the requirement or the need to host a full bar. To go out and buy your gins and your bourbons and your tequilas and your vodkas and everything else and all the mixers that go with it, hundreds of dollars. But if you have a signature drink, that's what people are drinking at the party. And it makes it really fun. And you save a lot of money. So I really like this. I think it's really festive. It saves you a lot of money. And then the other thing I'd like to mention about signature drinks is that I like to set up my own kind of little bar table when I host parties and entertain. And so when people come to my house, I'll make it right in front of them. And I'll hand it to them and I'll say, here are the ingredients. Whenever you're ready to refill it, help yourself. So now I'm not the bartender for the party. I can actually enjoy my own party. And that's a big deal because a lot of times you spend hours and days and lots of money in planning this wonderful party, and then you play bartender the whole time, you work the whole time, and you don't have a great time. So it really is a great idea to have a signature drink when you're entertaining. All righty. All right, so we're going to go into the mojito. So here we go. I lost my corkscrew for a second. So we make the Barefoot Moscato Mojito with Moscato. And the Moscato is a great, great wine alone, but it's fun to make cocktails with it. And when you taste it alone, it has those tangerine and mandarin orange and sweet lime flavors and aromas. It has really explosive flavors and aromas when done right. And Moscato is actually growing in popularity, and it's just a really fun choice. You can pair it with white cheeses, fruits. You can pair it with salads that have a little sweetness to it. You know, salads with like some nuts on it with a little sweet vinaigrette or something like that. And also with desserts. It's really fun, a sorbet or some sort of citrusy dessert. Really, really great with Moscato. So great alone, great in cocktails.